Does a 200 megapixel camera make a difference? Does having a so-called flicker-free screen matter? Is the Honor 90 5G worth it? Those are just some of the questions I'm hoping to answer in this video. But first, for context, the Honor 90 5G comes with a 25,000 peso price tag, so let's dive right in and see if the numbers add up to make a phone worth considering, starting off with the cameras. The phone has a triple camera setup that's headlined by a 200 megapixel shooter. You're also getting a 12 megapixel ultra-wide / macro camera, and everyone's favorite, a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The giant megapixel count definitely makes this impressive, but does that make for spectacular results? Overall, we do like the snaps that were taken by the Honor 90 5G. The team and I agreed on a solid 8 for the cameras that produced a good amount of detail, a decent amount of dynamic range, and even churned out some pretty fantastic snaps in challenging scenarios. The low light performance also surprised me when I took it out for a quick coffee run at a nearby cafe. I was expecting a little muddiness in the details, but they still look quite crisp for the Vespas that were parked there, and the main camera was able to capture the vibe of the place with a 12 megapixel ultra-wide doing a good job as well. I was even able to test out portrait mode, and it isn't perfect if you really pixel peep, but I'm still pretty happy with the results. The main question is, does the 200 megapixel camera actually make a difference? The quick answer is yes, and I actually took a quick snap using regular photo mode and high-res mode so we can compare them. Just looking at the results side by side, it's really hard to see the difference, but I zoomed in 5 times and you can clearly see that the high-res shot maintains a lot more detail. But at what cost? Well, on regular photo mode, file sizes are around 4 megabytes and the resolution is around 3000 by 4000, but on high-res mode, the file jumps to 27 megabytes and you are getting a ton more resolution at around 16,000 by 12,000. Now, personally, I don't think you're going to be using high-res mode a lot since regular shots using regular photo mode already does a fantastic job thanks to the amount of pixels that it can bin, especially in low light conditions. But it's also thanks to a larger sensor, and I think that's the more important part. So I'm going to pose the question again. Does the 200 megapixel camera really matter? To some degree, yes, it does, but that's not the whole story since we have seen other phones with lower megapixel count outperform the Honor 90 5G. Alright, so now let's move on to the flicker-free screen, but first the specs of the display itself. We're getting a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display that's curved with a screen-to-body ratio of 93.3%, according to their website, that has a punch hole for that selfie camera that I just mentioned. It ticks all the boxes in terms of image quality with great contrast ratios, even though I'm showing you a fan cam of Geo that doesn't really show it off, but the colors look great, and no doubt that you'll enjoy the display of the Honor 90 5G. What I really wish that this phone has were stereo speakers because it has such a great display that's really pulled down by subpar audio. So grab your favorite pair of wireless headphones or wireless earbuds to really enjoy the display on this device. Now on to that flicker-free part, which I'm sure you've seen a ton of our friends in the tech industry demo already. Essentially, this makes the screen on the Honor 90 5G safer for your eyes by reducing eye strain or eye fatigue, but does it really make a difference? Honestly, the week or so that I had the Honor 90 5G isn't enough for me to definitively say that there is a difference, nor do I have the tools to verify their claims, but the ExoMark gave this the gold standard for displays, so there is that, I guess. So that pretty much covers the two big things about the Honor 90 5G, but what about the rest that it has to offer? For its internals, this is rocking the so-called accelerated version of the Snapdragon 7 Gen 1, and our unit came with 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage. Now that combo does give you more than enough processing power for your day-to-day tasks, especially for someone like me who's just mostly on his phone to coordinate with the team, watch videos, and check out our platforms. I did happen to try out Farlight 84, which is a battle royale that just popped up on my radar. Graphics defaulted to max on the Honor 90 5G and it ran rather smoothly. Unfortunately, I didn't do as well because of my fat fingers, but I was able to secure a few wins with my squad. Now, I did notice that the unit got warm after back-to-back sessions. I didn't have it plugged in, so just take note of that. In terms of battery life, the Honor 95G ships with a 5,000 mAh capacity and supports their 66-watt supercharge. Now, our battery benchmarks kept on failing, but we did end up with around 20% at the end of the day with moderate use. Now, in terms of charging, 30 minutes got me from 10% to 72%, which is definitely not bad. You can plug this in while you're getting ready, and that should give you enough juice. In terms of its overall design, our unit was a little mid, but I did like the matte finish. I also thought it was glass at first, but it turns out it's made out of plastic with a ceramic-like coating. It is available in a variety of options, but their headlining one, which is diamond silver, isn't really my cup of tea. Ang lakas makatita, and that's coming from me, who's a certified tito. Other than that, it does fit in the hand well, but it is a bit weighty, coming in at 185 grams. So is the Honor 95G worth its 25,000 peso price tag? Of course, that really depends. If you're super particular about price to performance, as in raw processing power that a phone has per peso that you spend, this might not be the phone that you're looking for. But if you were impressed with the photos that we took and all the sample photos from the Honor 95G floating online, then I think this is a viable option for you. After all, it is a camera-centric device with a flicker-free screen as a bonus that might do you some good if you're on your device constantly. Of course, there are a couple of things I would have loved to see on the Honor 95G, such as stereo speakers to complement the display, and I really wish that they had omitted the 2-megapixel depth sensor for a telephoto shooter for a bit more shot variety, but I guess that would have driven the price a bit higher. Okay, to sum up, if camera performance is your top priority when looking for a smartphone and this is within your budget, then the Honor 95G should definitely be one of your options.